Hey, everybody. Guys, welcome to Friday's edition of the Full Count Show. It's the last hurrah of the week. 4 out of 4 shows for me this week, so I hope you're not sick of me yet. But I'm Jeff Michaels, and I'm still keeping this chair warm while Joe D'Amico's out there, recovering from that illness. Again, wishing him and Dion a speedy recovery. But we were talking behind the scenes before the show. It is fun. There's a little more variety when I'm in here every day and seeing some different faces that we talk to behind the scenes. But I'm really excited to be joined by these two guys today. They've both been dominating the leaderboards recently. I have Dan Kaiser and Kevin Thomas here with me tonight. Dan, I'll kick it off with you. It's always a pleasure, and I always enjoy another, AL Central perspective. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back. I had a couple of weeks off. I was in Vegas for one Friday, and Jesse Shule filled in for me, and I was off for a couple of weeks. And I said, Chris, mate, if you want, I'll be back on Friday. So let's go. So luckily it was nice of him to put me back on. So I'm ready to go. It's getting into playoff season, so I'm ready.
Hey, I'm excited. I'm glad to have you here. And I will say real quick, guys, everybody, just so you know, after the show, guys, make sure you jump over and head over to SportsMemo too. Last chance. There's still $2 Tuesday stuff going on today. You got 3 5% plays. First one goes tonight. But up until that, you can get 3 5% plays for just $5, or obviously get them at $2 a piece. But not only does that include those 3 5% plays, it also includes one of which is Dan Kaiser's too. So after the show, make sure you jump over there, take advantage of that one. But Kevin, it's been a while. We were talking before. I feel like we haven't shared the stage in a while. How you been?
I've been doing as good as I can, and off a 3-0 day yesterday, which I much needed. So in the capping world, everything's great. So that's a plus.
Good. Always good to hear. Guys, we do have a little bit of a train to follow. We swept the board yesterday. So technically 2-0. Eric had a play yesterday that went off a little bit before we started. We knew it was supposed to be his play, so me and Dr. Chuck went 2-0. We'll call him the win on Boston 3-0 too. But guys, we're closing out the last weekend of the regular season here, and this could be one of the most exciting series we see. And not to mention, you put it in the last weekend of the regular season with playoff implications on the line. Mets are traveling down to Atlanta to take on a Braves team that currently is the top wild card spot, but they're right there with the Mets. And there's no question there's something to be played for in this game. They both clinched the postseason, but one team gets a first round bye, and while the other team gets home field advantage, they do have to play in that wild card series against whoever is to finish in that second spot out of San Diego, Philly, and Milwaukee, I'm assuming. Atlanta sends Max Fried to the mound at home tonight. His 2.50 ERA is fourth in the NL, and his wins above replacement is second. You got DeGrom on the other side of the mound. We obviously know what he's capable of. He's only had 10 starts this year, and he actually got roughed up in his last 3 pretty noticeably. He allowed 11 earned runs in 15 innings. Mets have played well against when left-handed pitchers start, but does the fact that it's Max Fried change the perception on that, Kevin, or does that affect the potential to win this game? What are you looking for?
I do have a premium pick on this play. So what I'm looking at, Jacob DeGrom, I thought it would be my Phillies here with the Braves in this situation, but it's not. The Mets went out, got Scherzer. They went all in, and it paid off. And this is a big game, but then you look at this line, and you're thinking, what's going on? DeGrom has 9 innings his last 2 games, and it's against Oakland and the Pirates, and they're both losses. But the Mets seem to be favored here, and I'm curious. I mean, the Braves 9-1 at home in September, 17-4. I mean, this Braves team, this is a must-win for them. This series at home, so I would lean towards the under here because if we're looking at Max Fried, he's pitched against the Mets 4 times. He's 2-2 this season against them, and his ERA is 2. He literally gave up 2 runs in each of those games. I'm not sold on DeGrom here. Jacob doing that, getting. I don't want to give away my pick, but let's put it this way: Jacob DeGrom. The reason this line is the way it is, this guy steps up big for big games, and like I said, the two losses were against Oakland and the Pirates. He could have gave a shit against those two teams. This is a must-win for the Mets and the Braves, so I would feel confident taking that under 6.5.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about, they can't just be looking at his 10 starts this year. Whether you do it intentionally or not, there's something to be said about what DeGrom has done in years past. So, I was leaning towards that under too. I think I'm going to enjoy sitting back on the couch and watching this one because there is a little bit of wind that may help the ball carry out. Same goes for you, Charlie, in that second game of that Phillies Washington game. A little bit of outwind that scares me on the under a little bit. But Dan, what are you looking at? Maybe you'll change my mind.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at Kevin. I see Kevin's like holding his bat there, and unfortunately, this is the only kind of bat I hold now. One I can drink out of. But I'll be honest with you, I really don't like betting baseball this time of year. I usually take this week off and just get ready for the playoffs because you never know what you're going to get. What lineups teams are going to put forward, what kind of effort you're going to get. But this is one series this weekend that you're going to see an effort out of both teams, as they're both playing for that the top spot in the AL East. I don't really like a side of this, but I do like the total. You got two great pitchers in here. You got DeGrom. He's 5-3 this season, 2.93 ERA, 0.74 WHIP. He's a little bit more shaky on the road. He's 1-2 with a 3.57 ERA. He's faced the Braves twice this season, going 12.1 innings, allowing 5 runs with 21 strikeouts. Max Fried, 13-7 this season. Really good season for him. 2.5 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, 7-4 at home with a 2.45 ERA. He's faced the Mets 4 times, pitched 24 innings, given up 10 runs, 22 Ks. I look at this game. I look at this a lot like the series that you just saw with the San Diego Padres and Dodgers. Very playoff intensive, very low scoring. And I see that happening in this one. I think this, obviously, even more so because they are playing for the NL East title. I think it's going to be playoff atmosphere. The pitcher's not taking a lot of chances. The offense is not taking a lot of chances. It's going to be played close to the vest. So yeah, I know this number is 6.5. It is a little low, but you got these two great pitchers on the mound. So yeah, I'm taking the under in this one.
Hey, we got some agreement, and I love you get 2 different ways to get there. We get to the same point, and hopefully we all catch the same winnings. So, and it makes a big difference when one team's has to play 3 more or potentially 3 more games in a whole nother series in the postseason. So it's definitely a big one. And game number 2, those same stakes are kind of on the board. You got Houston playing at home. Tampa Bay comes into Houston for roundtable game 2, and Houston's in that same situation. They're locked into October, but they're not head-to-head in a series against the Yankees like the Mets and the Braves are, but these two teams are still fighting. They have the best records, but they're fighting on who's going to get home field throughout the entirety of the postseason. And Tampa Bay definitely has something to fight for after that series against Cleveland, and that's a big part. Dan mentioned it a little bit in the last one. I stay away from these games too, unless it hits certain criteria, in my opinion. And something to play for is something that Tampa Bay definitely has. They throw the righty tonight in Rasmussen, and he's 10-7 on the year, but he's got an impressive 2.85 ERA. But just like DeGrom, he's had a rough last 3 starts. The Rays have lost all 3 of them, including one against Houston. And he has to face off against Framber Valdez on the other side. The lefty's 16-5 on the year with a 2.64 ERA. And he's on a nearly opposite trend with Houston winning 8 out of his last 9 starts. Tampa's in a situation that if the season ended today, they'd be headed right back to Cleveland for potentially 3 more games. And maybe I'm assuming, but with how that one went down, I can't imagine that that's where they want to end up right now at the moment. So, Dan, why don't you take the reins on this one? Houston's still fighting, but who needs it more, and does it affect the game?
Yeah, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but I thought I read that Houston's already clinched home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But I could be wrong on that. But I thought I read that today. But yeah, going into this one, here's the thing. I've been going back and forth on this one because, as you said, Rasmussen, he's pitched great all season, and his last 3 starts have not been good. And then I look at this Houston team, and Valdez has pitched great. Do they need this game? Do they want it? I know Tampa Bay would like this game as much as anything. Again, it's hard for me to pick sides in this. I'm looking at the total in this one, and as bad as Rasmussen's been, I remember I've had him before, and he's just pitched lights out. I think he'll step up for this game. And Tampa Bay, the thing about Tampa Bay, they win a lot of games, but they don't score a lot of runs. And I think Rasmussen will come in. He'll pitch well in this one. Again, and I'm going to take the under in this one also. I know it's a low number. I hate doing it in back-to-back games, but I just think these pitchers will – again, it's a playoff atmosphere game, and I just don't think there's going to be a lot of runs scored. I think teams are going to play this one close to the vest, and I'm going with the under again.
Yeah, I find it hard to argue. I believe I could be wrong. You may be right, Dan. I know that Houston clinched a first round bye. I believe they're obviously very close because they are ahead of New York. I believe the only 2 teams right now they don't have a guaranteed home field advantage against is the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series. So they do have a first round bye. I believe tonight could be it if they win, but I don't know that for a fact. I believe I saw that yesterday. So results yesterday could have changed it. But Kevin, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, they lead the Yankees by 5.5 with 6 going. So if they win tonight, then it's the Astros can shore up the AL #1 seed. But my thing is, what I'm looking at is the Rays. Like you guys said, it's hard to bet these because these guys are going to be watching the TV screens, and these are later games. So you got the Orioles playing at 7:00. So you don't think the Rays are going to be watching that game because if the Orioles lose, I know they still want to be ahead of the Mariners and not drop to the 3rd seed, but they're going to be watching that Orioles game now, take a lot of pressure off them. They are 13-14 in September, which isn't great for a team that doesn't put up a lot of runs. But I would have to go with the Rays here, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm looking at Frankie, Valdez over there, or Framler. Sorry, I'm saying his wrong name. Yeah, he's winless against the AL East. The AL East is the toughest division. Those are the best hitters. I know the Astros is one of the best all-around teams. The Rays got swept by the Astros this month. So that's in the back of their mind. Hey, if we're going to be in this postseason, we're going to end up playing these Astros sooner or later. They just swept us. We got to get the upper hand. We got to take this game and not leave it up to the Orioles losing for us to make the playoffs. And then the Mariners, who they're another team that don't score a lot of runs, rely on pitching. So I just think the Astros winless against the AL East. I think it continues tonight for the Astros for Rambler. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Rays, get that big payout.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm in the host chair today. Let me say that because I think there's a different, the way that Tampa lost those last couple games to Cleveland. Cleveland, I say we lead the league in game-winning RBIs this season. RBIs to take the lead after the 7th inning. We've got 31 now, I believe. We did it back-to-back nights. They thought they had it for a second twice, and I think I would rather lose big than lose in heartbreak fashion back-to-back nights and take that momentum into Houston. So that doesn't mean I'm back in Houston, but I would have to look at a total, and I think I'm with you guys or with Dan on the under in this one too. So, and guys, one more. headed over to the NL for the last game card, and there are still slight playoff implications in this one as well. But I think this one could be an exciting one to watch as an unbiased fan, because Arizona heads out to San Francisco tonight to take on the Giants. And Dr. Chuck got me stuck on this weather earlier today because we were talking about hurricane. Yeah, I was looking at the weather more than I normally do. And there is apparently a significant improvement to the home run odds at Oracle Park tonight with the wind trajectory. And Merrill Kelly's starting for Arizona. And those home runs are something he's struggled with recently. And he's going to have to be cognizant of. He's allowed 8 home runs in his last 4 starts, but still not taking away from the fact that he's 13-7 on the season with a 3.13 ERA. And while that's impressive, he's 8-2 on the road with a slightly higher ERA. And a frequent topic on the show this week has been the 2 words run support. And I think that describes San Fran's starter tonight in Alex Cobb to a T recently. He's posted a 2.62 ERA at home this season, but the Giants are 6-9 in his 15 starts at Oracle Park this year. San Fran is 5.5 games out of the wild card. That's seemingly a 3-team race for 2 spots with the Giants on the outside looking in. Technically, there's one last glimmer of hope, but Kevin, this was an interesting one for me to look at. I'm eager to see the way that you had your eyes on this matchup tonight.
Yeah, I started by looking at the line, and then I saw the public back in Merrill Kelly a little bit, and that line went to -135. So I'm definitely going to go with Alex Cobb. He had one of his better performances on September 15th against these Diamondbacks. He got the win, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, and 5 strikeouts. And like you said, Alex Cobb on any other team with run support is a number 1, number 2 starter, probably more number 2. But still, Merrill Kelly, Merrill Kelly, it reminds me of the old Brave pitcher. He's going to you're going to hit him. He's not straight. He's not going to overpower you. You're going to hit him. And if the wind's blowing out, that's going to be some runs for these Giants hitters. Because, we could say we want about the Giants. I'm not a fan of their coach, but they still got some pop in that lineup. And even that rookie Proctor, he came out and had a nice little showing, had a grand slam for his first home run. So I think home field, both teams, Giants will be looking at TV screen a little more. I think my Phillies are winning now, so the Giants will be eliminated. But still, they're at home. I think they put on a good show tonight. I'm going to take the Giants in that -135.
Yeah, I think that it'll be a fun one to watch. Last 2 comments I'll say, Charlie, that kind of answers your question. Kevin said they could be out of the wild card, physically eliminated from the wild card before their game even goes if Philly potentially gets a win. So they're about the last level of motivation that's left, in my opinion. But Dan, what's your view on this game in San Fran tonight?
My view, to be honest, is just run away. I don't, I just don't like the. I'll be honest, I don't like this part of the season because, as we've all talked about, and you just said, San Francisco could be out of the playoff picture before this game even kicks off. So yeah, but I just look at if I'm just looking at straight numbers, and that's how I'm going to look at this one. Merrill Kelly, he as Kevin said, he can be hit, but the Giants haven't hit him. He's 3-0 against the Giants this season with a 1.53 ERA in 5 starts. You look at Alex Cobb, he's 1-2 with a 4.7 ERA in 4 starts against the Diamondbacks this season. And to be honest, this Diamondbacks team, it's one of those things. You just look at them; they're not a good team, but it always seems when I bet against them that they seem to find something and beat me. And I'm just the way this game lays out with who knows what San Francisco is going to bring to the table. And just looking at the past performance, to me, it's either going to be Arizona or pass. And I would probably pass.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing on that side. Again, back to one more comment, Keegan. I would probably be with the only thing that scares me on under 7 in that game is that weather. But do
Yeah,
you guys agree? Anything?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think that would normally be a strong bet, but out of all the games on the card today, that was the one that I saw was going to be most affected one way or another by wind in some sense. So, but guys, don't worry, the anticipation is over. I know everybody's always waiting for these best bets when we get to the end. But we got some variety for you, and that's all I'll say to get things going. But Dan, I'm eager to hear this one. I'm no, I've in a good way. So you can, feel free. I know we talked about your $2 Tuesday going this weekend. Feel free, break us down what you got going on over on the premium site, and tell everybody your best bet for today's show.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, my $2 Tuesday. It goes tomorrow. It's on the total of the Oklahoma State game. I've got a play up on tonight's Washington UCLA game, and I've just been finalizing my card for Saturday. It's going to be probably a 5 to 7 card for Saturday's college football, and the NFL will probably be a good 4 or 5 play card. I've been killing it and on the gridiron recently, so yeah, if just hop in on that if you're interested. Jeff, you wanted to hear this? Here it goes. Mate, if you've ever seen Godfather 3, you'll remember you probably only remember one thing from that movie, other than that movie sucked. It was the Al Pacino line. Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. And that's what this year with the being a White Sox fan has done to me. Every time I think they may be doing something, they turn around and start losing. 10 days ago, the Sox were 3 games back with 3 games against Cleveland. Thought maybe they could do something. They lost the first game. And it's like Cleveland. It was like the Indiana Jones Temple of Doom movie. Cleveland just came and stole their soul. And after that, I mean, you could get probably more life out of a dying dog than you could get out of the White Sox lately. They lost 8 in a row. They did win last night. Who cares? They beat a Twins team that basically gave up a month ago. I'm looking at this. My bet on this is I'm taking the White Sox to win the series against the Padres. It's minus 220. It's a big number, but they're going to be probably minus 200 favorites every game in this series unless Dylan Cease pitches, and that doesn't really matter because he hasn't been good lately either. They're minus 210 tonight with Darvish on the mound. They win that one, you're golden. The reason I'm taking this is because I think the Sox will get swept in this one, but I don't want to lay the 220 on every single game. In case, baseball does baseball things. Sometimes, a guy might boot a ball or something and you'll lose on a wild pitch or something. So I don't want to lay 220 on every game. Say you lose the first one and now you're like just sweating out the last 2 games. Padres will win 2 out of 3. They should win 3 out of 3. But I'm just trying to hedge my bet a little bit here so I don't have to bet them every game. The Sox are dead. They're dead as their manager. I'm done with that team. Take the Padres to win the series minus 220.
All right, Dan. Now I feel a little bad because I didn't quite mean for you to toot the Guardians' horn and rip on the way. I was more.
I feel like Rick Dorsey. If I continue to keep talking about the White Sox, I will do a Rick Dorsey and I'll just trash the studio.
The series bets aren't something we see too often, and it leads me perfectly into my best bet for my game today because, I will say I got a big 10% college football up tonight. I got probably a 5-card college football pack that will be up tonight going tomorrow, and I'll have at least a 4-card NFL pack up and ready for Sunday. But, we've all said it. To me, to play a game right now in this time of the year, I'm looking for 2 things. I'm looking for motivation and I'm looking for pitcher. And the only 2 places I found it for tonight's card, I decided to take them, put them together. So we're doing a 2-team parlay for my best bet. First one, I'm going to keep it short and simple because it's San Diego. All I'm going to add to what Dan said prior is one of those two games that they need to win will be tonight. So don't worry about that. And the second half of that parlay, I'm going for St. Louis because it's a very similar situation. Flaherty is similar to the DeGrom that we mentioned earlier, but he's actually been better since coming back from injury. That's not talking historically as a sense, but he's had a higher ERA in his 7 combined starts, but he's gotten run support. And in his last 3 outings, Flaherty has posted a 5.06 ERA, but the Cards have won all 3 starts, outscoring opponents 18-14 in those 3. He's 8-1 in his career with a 2.57 ERA against Pittsburgh. And St. Louis as a team is 5-2 against Pittsburgh this year. So you take a San Diego team that's minus 215, you take a St. Louis team that's minus 200 tonight, throw them together in a parlay, and when they both hit, you're sitting with plus money. So got to pick and choose your opportunities. And tonight's, I believe, my first parlay best bet of the season. So sometimes you take different avenues when you get towards the end of the year. But, last but certainly not least, Kevin, I said it before, I'm a big STQL and trends guy, which is why I think I like listening to a little bit of a different viewpoint on some of these analyses. But feel free. What do you got going on over on the premium site this weekend? What are you looking forward to? And, follow that up with your best bet for tonight.
Yeah, my best bet for tonight is going to be in that UCL Washington game. It's going to be 2 undefeated Pac-12. It's going to be a juggernaut. I hope it's a fun one out there, and still get my baseball on the Braves Mets. I'll start working college football tonight. If I don't put college football up early, then I wait closer to lines because those lines start moving. The public starts moving those lines, and then they get a little better, especially if you try to go more sharp than on the public. So, yeah, you can always look at that. Saturday, I'm up around 3 o'clock, and I start posting those picks. So you can check those out tomorrow. And then Sunday, same thing. Saturday night, I'll start putting up the Sunday. Unless I see something that's really juicy, then I jump on it right away. To my best bet, Jeff asked me to throw my prop in on there because I have Wander Franco getting a hit. The guy's hit 14 of the last 15 at bats. He's got a safe hit, but it's minus 270 for that hit. You could throw it in that for a triple parlay, but I'm a sharp bettor, so I don't know if I'm betting the Padres and Cardinals. I don't think they're both going to win the night. I don't. Oh, God. I always go against the grain. I didn't even look at the lines for either of those games, but you see with the Pirates, Cubs, those teams have been just coming around beating teams that, the Cardinals, what do they have to play for? They're in the playoffs. So I don't know. I would take my Wander Franco and roll it with the Rays I gave out earlier because I think the Rays are plus money now, so that would really make a nice juicy profit for you. I still like the Rays beating the Astros tonight, and I know Franco gets a hit. Do with it what you want. It's the best bet. I'm going to bet it. You can too.
Hey, I like it. And that's the nice part to those parlays. You can pick and choose and do with them as you please. I actually said that earlier on a football one.
I think the Pirates are hitting the ball way too good for me to. I think the Pirates, they're getting those guys up there. That one guy who's got like 19 home runs in a month. He's like 6'7". They're getting the guys that were projected and came up high in the prospects and stuff, and now they're starting to play. So I hate betting against those kind of teams because look what the Cubs did to my Phillies. I kind of expected the Phillies to lay over there because they suck on the road, and the Cubs hammered them in Philly. But I don't know.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't if it wasn't Flaherty. I'll say that for a fact. But guys, thanks for watching. I will say before we get out of here, if you guys enjoyed what we had today, all the content we've had this week, outside of that $2 Tuesday still going, we do have 2 incredible customer appreciation offers going over at that premium site on SportsMemo. You guys got 2 options. Any of your favorite capper or multiple cappers on SportsMemo, $39 each for a 3-day all access pass if you use the code SMT3 at checkout. Or you go the longer route. If you're looking baseball still, the best deal and the one you're going to regret if you don't get now, $159 for any panelist on any capper, on the full count shows from this week. Check out, MLB 159 at checkout, and you can lock up one or more at 159 each of the cappers that were on this week's shows from now all the way through the conclusion of the World Series. So you're getting over a month of baseball, which includes the entire postseason for $159. So after you go over there and buy Dan's $2 Tuesday, make sure you check these guys out with that and lock up the postseason in the MLB right now. But guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit those buttons. So it helps us, but it also makes sure that you guys don't miss anything that we got going on. But on behalf of myself, Kevin, Dan, and the Sports Memo team, best of luck this weekend, guys, and have a good one.
Thanks.